1. Principle 1. Listen twice as much as you speak. In a world full of information, listening can often be an undervalued skill. Most of us tend to talk more than we listen, but in Buddhism, listening is not just about receiving sound. The Buddha taught, to understand all is to forgive all, a profound statement emphasizing that true understanding comes from deeply listening to others, not only to their words but also to the emotions and deeper meanings behind them. Take, for example, a prominent leader like Barack Obama. In his speeches, he often presented himself as someone who listens and gathers insight into the struggles of the people. He once said, "I am not just a leader, I am a listener." This demonstrates that listening not only helps us better understand those around us, but also builds deeper connections. When we listen, we not only gain insights into others, but also uncover unspoken thoughts and feelings, expanding our hearts and minds. 2. Principle 2. Do not let others' words and attitudes control you. Most of us tend to be influenced by the words and actions of others. However, Buddhism teaches us that we should not let these things disrupt our lives. Instead, we should focus on the present moment and avoid being swayed by criticism or preconceived judgments. A clear example is Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. He never let criticism or doubts from others affect him. Instead, he concentrated on developing the products he believed in. Despite being criticized for making bold decisions, Jobs remained steadfast in his beliefs and goals. His story proves that when you hold firm to your convictions and objectives, you can overcome the challenges others may present. Buddhism also advises us not to dwell on the values of others, as our lives are ours to decide. This approach allows us to live a life of autonomy and independence, free from external influences. 3. Principle 3. Be prepared for the worst conditions. Life is not always easy, and everyone faces challenges. The Buddha taught, suffering is certain, but pain is optional. This means that while we cannot avoid hardships, we have the power to decide how we respond to them. Nelson Mandela exemplifies this principle. After 27 years of imprisonment, he did not merely endure his suffering but turned it into a driving force to fight for justice and equality. Upon his release, instead of seeking revenge, he called for national reconciliation, an example of using acceptance to overcome past pains. Buddhism teaches that preparing for the worst conditions prevents us from being overwhelmed by difficult circumstances. When we accept reality, we find peace even in the greatest challenges. Mental preparedness and confronting fears help us grow stronger, sometimes opening opportunities we never expected. 4. Principle 4. Do not fear failure. Buddhism does not view failure as something to be avoided. Instead, failure is seen as an essential part of learning and growth. One of the Buddha's famous sayings is, "Each morning, we are born again. What we do today matters most." Thomas Edison is a prime example of embracing failure to achieve success. When inventing the light bulb, he failed thousands of times before succeeding. Instead of viewing these as complete failures, he saw them as necessary steps in the process. "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work," he said. His ability to overcome failure led to world-changing inventions. Failure is a natural part of life and learning. What matters most is the ability to rise after each failure, learn from it, and continue striving. Buddhism teaches that embracing failure and accepting it as part of the growth process helps us develop resilience and strength. 5. Principle 5. Keep things simple. In an increasingly complex world, we are often overwhelmed by tasks, responsibilities, and intricate relationships. However, Buddhism encourages us to find peace in simplicity. The Buddha taught, "The path is not in the sky, the path is in the heart." An example from the modern world is Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors. Despite his immense wealth, Buffett leads a very simple life, residing in a modest home and maintaining a frugal lifestyle. He emphasizes that focusing on simplicity and eliminating unnecessary complexities allows us to find clarity and peace of mind. Buddhism teaches that simplifying life helps us focus on what truly matters: health, happiness, family, and friends. By letting go of non-essentials, we create space for these core values, leading to a more harmonious and natural life. 6. Principle 6. Practice humility. The Buddha taught that true wisdom lies not only in words, but also in actions. Humble individuals are not just wise, but also live a life full of love and fearlessness. A humble person understands that everything in life is interconnected and never considers themselves the center of the universe. Barack Obama, one of the most respected leaders in the world, exemplifies humility. Despite wielding great power, he always displayed modesty in his interactions, from simple conversations to important political decisions. He never judged others based on their position or authority, but sought empathy and understanding instead. Humility allows us to learn from others and broaden our perspective. Buddhism teaches that wisdom cannot be purchased. It must be cultivated through humble and sincere actions. 7. Principle 7. Be aware of the dangers of wealth. Finally, Buddhism advises against being overly attached to material wealth, as it is only temporary. The Buddha taught, health is the greatest gift, contentment is the greatest wealth, and loyalty is the best relationship. A notable example is Elon Musk, founder of Tesla and SpaceX. Despite his vast fortune, Musk focuses not only on making money, but also on creating innovative solutions to change the world. However, he also recognizes that true happiness does not come from accumulating wealth, but from pursuing greater purposes. Buddhism reminds us that contentment comes from appreciating what we have and avoiding the trap of greed and materialism. By finding joy in simplicity, we experience true prosperity, a life filled with meaning and peace. Principle 8. Embracing change. Life is ever-changing, and facing change can be one of the biggest challenges we encounter. Buddhism teaches, everything changes, nothing is permanent. Embracing change is not about resignation, but understanding that change is an integral part of life. Resisting change only brings more suffering. A notable example of embracing change is Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He started Amazon as an online bookstore, but when he noticed significant shifts in the market, he diversified into areas like mobile devices, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence. Bezos continually adapted his strategies to meet market demands and technological advancements, demonstrating that adaptability is key to thriving in an ever-changing world. Buddhism encourages us to accept change as a natural part of life. Instead of fearing or resisting it, we should view it as an opportunity for growth and development. Accepting change frees us and allows us to adapt more easily to new challenges.
Principle 9. Non-judgment.
In Buddhism, judgment is seen as an action that causes harm, not only to others but also to ourselves. Buddha taught, do not judge others, for we do not know enough about their circumstances or lives. Judging creates division and conflict, making it difficult to build harmonious relationships with those around us. A clear example of non-judgment is the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism. Despite years of exile and hardship, he consistently demonstrates compassion and refrains from judging those with opposing views. He encourages understanding and love, advocating against division caused by differences. Practicing non-judgment helps us live peacefully and avoid unnecessary conflicts. Instead of criticizing or finding fault in others, Buddhism teaches us to focus on self-improvement and act with compassion. Principle 10. Focus on long-term goals. Buddhism emphasizes that our present decisions should align with long-term and sustainable goals. Buddha taught, act with a noble purpose, and everything else will follow. Rather than seeking short-term gains or instant gratification, we need to look further ahead and invest in lasting values. Bill Gates is a prime example of someone focused on long-term goals. Although he is one of the wealthiest individuals in the world, Gates not only developed Microsoft, but also invested in social initiatives through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He uses his wealth to tackle global issues such as poverty, education, and health. Gates shows that focusing on long-term objectives and greater values can create profound and lasting impacts. Buddhism advises us to live with a clear purpose and persevere in achieving it despite challenges. Maintaining a long-term vision keeps us from being distracted by temporary temptations, allowing us to build a meaningful and fulfilling life. Principle 11. Forgiveness and letting go of resentment. Buddhism teaches that resentment and anger only harm ourselves. Holding on to these negative emotions prevents us from living in peace. Buddha said, "Let go of hatred, and you will feel lighter." Forgiveness does not mean condoning wrongful actions, but choosing to release ourselves from suffering and move forward freely. Mahatma Gandhi, a leader of India's independence movement, exemplified forgiveness. Despite facing immense injustice and suffering, Gandhi consistently advocated forgiveness and nonviolence. He believed true strength lies in tolerance and love, and that forgiveness is the only path to genuine peace. Buddhism encourages us to forgive, not only others but also ourselves. Forgiveness frees our minds from negative emotions and opens our hearts to love and tranquility. Principle 12. Living fully in the present. Finally, Buddhism teaches us to live in the present moment, free from excessive worries about the past or future. Buddha said, "Life exists only in the present. Live each moment fully." Focusing too much on past events or fearing what lies ahead can make us miss the precious moments of life. An example of living fully in the present is Elon Musk. Despite juggling numerous projects and responsibilities, Musk dedicates his time to the task at hand and cherishes each moment in his work process. He believes living fully in each moment is the key to success and maintaining creativity. Buddhism advises us to embrace the present because it is where we can find peace and happiness. By living in the moment, we are not burdened by the past or anxious about the future, allowing us to enjoy life's small yet valuable moments. Conclusion. The principles in ACTAS, "If nothing bothers you, this is very powerful Buddhism," are not merely philosophical advice but practical approaches to facing life's difficulties, changes, and challenges. By applying these principles, we can achieve inner peace, enhance self-discipline, and cultivate a more meaningful life.